Hey everyone, welcome to another video by Airguns of Michigan. My name is Moose, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're actually going to be starting our series at the bench with Moose. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take you guys through some of the repairs that I do on some customers' guns that come in, and some of the stuff that I have that I want to work on and things like that. And today we're actually going to be working on this cool gun. This is a Baikal. This is made in Russia. This is an IZH-46M. A customer wanted it looked over, as I believe he's, just trying to make sure all of his guns are in good shape. This is a 10 meter single pump gun, and it's got a really cool breech loading system to it, as you guys can see. Like I said, single pump, and the breech will actually lock down once you've put a pellet in it, and bang, there it goes. So we're gonna start by disassembling the tube area, because all the rest of the mechanics I've already lubed, and I've had the gun apart. But this is something that I think a lot of people are probably looking at when it comes to these guns. I do know, at least as far as I can tell, Air Venturi actually bought the rights to Baikal, and now they actually make their own version of this. But ironically, it is the exact same gun. They bought the tooling, all the parts, things like that, as far as I've heard. And you can actually see these. So this will actually work. As far as I know, I have not had one of the Air Venturi versions, but as well with their stuff. So we're going to start by going ahead and removing the, there's a little flathead screw here to remove the front iron sight. You'll see there's a little indent there. So when you put it back on, you'll feel for that indent. It'll be no big deal. I have had this gun apart. And when I put it back together, I accidentally put one of the spacers in backwards. So not that it's a big deal, but I'm going to show you guys how to put them back together the right way. So when removing these, I just use a small little screwdriver to remove these retention clips. And there we go. Just going to grab the edge of that, pop it out. There's one. And there's the other. And then these two pins, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up the action, and it's going to pop this open, and I'm just going to push these pins straight out through the bottom. There's one, and then this is the other. And you're going to want to probably pay a little bit of attention to how these pieces come out. This slide piece here will drop right out of there, and in turn, this first piece that comes out is kind of a like a wider format, and this back piece here is actually the wider format. And if the barrel of the gun's facing this way, this is the front facing the gun, like that. Okay, so we're going to set that one there. And then we're going to pull this other one out, and this is the one that I put in backwards. I accidentally did it, but you'll see that they're slanted. The flat edge will go towards the front of the gun. Do you see what I'm saying? It'll go towards the front of the gun. So we're going to put that one there, and then this piece here. This, you can just pull this out, or you can choose to leave it together. I would recommend, if you're really not paying very close attention, leave it together. But then you can actually, well, actually what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. And we're going to come around this side of the gun. And there's a little screw right here at the front of the breech. Right there. And we're just going to back that out. And I'll show you why here in a second. We're just going to, you don't have to take it all the way out. Just back it out a little bit. But then what happens is there's this little post here that I might not be able to. Oh yeah, I can. You're gonna see how I'm gonna work this thing out. This is basically this little piece here actually goes into the slide here and then locks into this piece. And what happens is when you cock the gun, it actually pulls this breech forward so that it opens up, or it'll actually pull this piece here forward like this so that the breech will actually open. Okay, so we're going to want to make sure we do that. I'm going to flip the gun back around just so you guys can keep the same orientation. Now, I've already lubed this, and I'm going to show you guys basically down inside of this tube here. I went ahead and I cleaned this out. I don't use any harsh chemicals or anything like that. Basically, I took a cloth, like a towel, tied it into the end of my drill, and just kind of wiped it out so that it was nice and clean. I went ahead and cleaned off the plunger, and then lightly lubricated it with some super lube. Okay, super lube is what I use for these, and does a really good job of kind of sealing this thing back up. All right, so that's basically it. That is how you get this thing apart. And once you've cleaned these parts, then you can simply just take your plunger, go ahead and send it back down into the gun. And let's see, I think that might be upside down. There we go. And nope, I had it right. And this is one reason I said you might want to just leave that thing together, because you know, when you take it apart, flip it around, you start to get a little confused on the orientation. But just remember, when you're putting these things back together, that the slant, you know, goes towards the back of the gun. So what I do is I go ahead and lead this thing in. I just take a once I push it up to where it's gonna go, there we go, found my hole. Then I just use like an Allen key or something to line everything up. Oops, I went ahead and moved it on accident. So what we'll do is we'll start to push our plunger in, and then we'll bring up the bring this piece up, go ahead and put our driver through there so that we can line up our holes, and then we'll take our pin from the underside, and then what I do is I just kind of go in here and I just kind of help line it up, and then it'll start to push its way through, and then obviously it did. Now I like to go ahead and put my clamps on now, or my cotter pins, just so that this thing doesn't pop out on me when I'm, you know, taking care of that, or taking care of the other piece. And I take my other one, making sure that my angle is facing towards the back of the gun. Go ahead and hold that in place, move this one up in line, drop my pin back in the other side, and then just go ahead and work my pin right back through. Doesn't take much. It's just, you know, using that Allen key just kind of helps to you know, keep everything lined up and nice and straight. All right, so now that that part's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and load or cock the gun just so I can get to this front piece. And this, once again, you know, so if you guys can see, let's see, I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible. You can see there's a little hook right here, right? And this little hook is where this piece will go in to the gun. So what happens is as you open your breech and this comes forward, you'll see right here the piston actually comes forward, and it'll actually grab this piece and pull that back. All right, so that's what we're attempting to do. We're just going to go ahead and slide this in, like basically you just hook it in there, bring this forward, and then push that forward until it falls into the gun. And then what I do now is I go ahead and close my action so that this way I can reset my set screw back here so that this won't move forward. Okay, so you don't have to reef on any of these, but then, you know, obviously now she fires. So, you know, there's your pump, right? It opens up your breech. You come back forward, load your pellet, close your breech, and all right. So once again, all right, let me move this camera just a little bit more this way. There we go. So the way that the system works, once again, is you open up your cocking lever, and then when you get forward, it'll actually pop the breech open. So when you extend that all the way, right, all the way back here, and you extend that out the front, this is what the action should do. This should pop up, this should pull back. Then when you cock the gun, now you can take your pellet, seat it, you'll close your breech, push down till it locks, and then pull your trigger. Now, one thing I do recommend with these guns is that when you're, and normally this is how I would do it, when I close my breech, when I get to about here, instead of just forcing that down, I like to just gingerly push this forward and then allow it to come back. Because what will happen over time is, by shoving this down on top of that, is you'll start to wear the metal away. And if you're shooting a lot, you know, once that goes bad, then you're done. You're going to be calling Air Venturi to get a replacement part. So you don't obviously want to do that. But there you have it. I mean, basically everything else in the gun itself is really self-explanatory. If you guys you know, want to see, you know, trigger stuff, I mean, really there's no real reason to take apart the trigger on this one, because it does work. I just lightly lubricated it so that the gun itself is ready to go. So I hope that helped everybody. And you know, these guns are absolutely amazing. You know what? I mean, this trigger, I mean, dude, it's like, I mean, you barely touch this thing and it's gone. So obviously, you know, once you get all that back together, then you're going to take your front sight and you're just going to go ahead and put it on here and kind of get it lined up to where that little dimple is. And then what I do is I just kind of rock it back and forth a little bit until I start to feel that it's going into that dimple. And there it goes. You know, I can barely move it. And then you can just go ahead and snug it down. It'll actually seat itself. It's really precision done. So great gun. And there you go. That's how you remove the action and clean your barrel half of the Baikal IZH-46M. Take care.